Hi everybody, Harris here with iDownloadBlog, and today I'm very excited to test out and show you the Apple Watch Ultra. We're going to show you what it looks like, how it works, and some tips and tricks to get the most out of this awesome new device. Now, I just covered the new Apple AirPods Pro 2, so you can check out that video and see how to use that. And I will have plenty of content covering how this watch works as a runner and from a runner's perspective. So you can check out my other channels where I'll be covering that more in depth for working out, running, marathons, stuff like that. So this is the watch, and Apple does give you some kind of special packaging for this device, and it looks really nice. So it's got kind of a biodegradable material, it feels like, on the outside. Then you open it up and you get this custom little booklet which goes through how to use the device, but we'll get into all of that in this video. Underneath that you get two boxes. One is going to have your Apple Watch and the Apple Watch charger. So I got the Alpine version because the Trail version was back ordered, so I just went with that, and I do plan on switching to an Apple Watch band that I already own, so you can use whichever one you want. So you get the braided USB-C power cable with this, and then of course the watch itself, and then you can slide in the band to get started with this new journey. So now that we have the device front and center, I want to give you a little bit of a hardware tour. So on the left-hand side, we have a combination of speaker and microphone. And then we also have the new action button in the international orange color, which will just make it pop out a little bit. And you can customize this to launch a certain app or do a certain task. And then within the activity app, so on a run or something, you can then use it to take splits and do laps, which is a nice addition on this watch. On the right hand side, we have the existing digital crown button with the orange cellular ring. Now you cannot get the Apple Watch Ultra without cellular, so you will have that orange ring and you will have cellular, although you obviously don't have to pay for it if you don't want to use cellular. It is $10 a month, maybe different for different carriers, but ends up being closer to $15 on AT&T after fees, which is a little bit annoying. But you can see on the other Apple Watches you have the red ring, but on the Ultra you now have this international orange ring. And then you still have the digital crown, but it is stuck in this casing just to give it a little bit more bump protection. You press it once and you get into your multitasking to see your recent applications. Now you press this twice to launch Apple Pay, but I don't have Apple Pay set up yet. And then you can hold it, and that will give you several options, including turning on the siren, which will do a high-pitch siren, your medical ID, compass backtrack, which will help you basically backtrack your steps, and emergency call, as well as your power options by clicking this button up here. Now your digital crown is used for scrolling, of course. It's used for going home. It's also used to double-click to go back to your previous application with a double-click like that. And if you tap and hold, you can get Siri. And then if you enable it in the settings, you can take a screenshot by holding down the side button with the digital crown at the same time, and you'll take a screenshot. Now holding down the side button will also pull up those same options as before with the other side. Now to navigate this watch, it's pretty simple. You swipe up and that gets you into your control center. From there you can turn cellular on or off, Wi-Fi on or off, stuff like that. You can make your phone ping, and actually if you hold it down instead of just tapping it, you'll see that it'll also make your phone's flash go off, which is a really cool feature. You have battery, and if you tap on that, it'll also show you the battery of any devices connected. So for instance, right now I have my AirPods Pro connected. So if I go into the battery, you can see it also shows my AirPods battery. So that's a really nifty feature too. Other features, of course, including silence, so that when you get notifications, it won't ding. You should probably have this turned on most of the time. Theater mode basically makes sure that your screen won't turn on at all, and it'll be silent so that you won't accidentally, turn on a bright screen during a movie, something like that. You have the walkie-talkie, which not many people use. Do not disturb, which you can tap and hold and get to your different do not disturb profiles and focus modes, which is great. You have flashlight, which just makes your screen really bright, and then if you tap like that, it makes it super bright and super illuminating. And you can also do kind of SOS and this bright red, which might look a little bit orange on my screen. Then you have airplane mode, of course. You have water mode, and when you exit this, it'll actually pump the speaker so that it ejects water. You can change your text size, use AirPlay, and then you can use the headphone and volume alerts, and then you can delete any of those or add school time by clicking the edit button at the bottom. And then to get to Notification Center, you simply swipe down and you can see your notifications. Now, if you go into your settings application, you can change some useful settings. I think a big one to go into and customize is display and brightness. Of course, if you want to turn always on off, you can do that, which will save battery life, and just if you don't want it to bother you, or you just don't want that kind of always on aspect, you can turn that off pretty easily. But I think most people want it on. Now you can also choose which data you want or don't want to show up when this is on the always on mode. So when it's kind of down on your wrist versus when you actually use it and it lights up. So say you didn't want your heart rate to be visible while your watch is on the always on display mode, and you only want the heart rate to show once you flip your wrist up. You could do something like that. You could turn off that in the show complications data toggle. You can also choose which apps you want to show notifications. So say you don't want text messages to pop up while your wrist is down, you can go ahead and turn off messages right there, or any other app that you don't want people to be able to see. Now, of course, there are other nifty features that Apple Watch users have come to know and love. One is the ability to control your phone's camera. So if you click on the camera app, it'll control your phone, and then you can see what your phone sees just like that. And you even choose between your phone's front and rear camera, flash, live photo, and HDR. So you can actually control a lot of your phone's settings right there. And you can also hold to record a video, which is pretty cool. Now if you go into the timer, you can start a timer. And if you go back, you can actually start a second timer. So if you're cooking multiple things in the oven, or you're timing multiple people in a relay or something like that, you can do multiple timers and swipe between them, which is pretty cool. You can pause them individually and clear them as well. So that's pretty cool. And the timer is to do multiple timers. Now if a song comes on that you really like, you can hold down Digital Crown and say, what song is this? And Siri will listen for a song, and there's nothing playing right now, but she would tell you what the song was otherwise. Now, of course, on the lock screen, you can swipe back and forth to get between your favorite watch faces, and if you tap and hold, you can add a new one by swiping over and really customize that however you want. Now, there's several new features with this watch. Of course, there is now the new Depth app, and you can have this automatically launch when when your watch is submerged. Sure, I'll turn that on. Not really useful when I'm out of water. And then there is the Compass app, of course, and you can use the backtrack feature here by clicking the little feet button down below. Now, by default, Apple gives you this Wayfinder watch face. And one nifty feature about this is that if you turn the Digital Crown, you can put it into night mode, which will put it in this red face, which will, not distract you and keep you up at night. So this is probably the best face if you want to check the time at night. Or I saw somebody on Twitter, I believe, say that as an astronomer, this really helps them keep their night vision. So, I mean, pretty niche audience, but there you go. But you can rotate that in and out to get into this red night mode, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, there's also the ECG or EKG scanning on heart rate. So if you go into the app right there and you hold down your fingerprint, it will scan and give you an ECG reading, which is, pretty cool. Now, one of the big new features of the Apple Watch that Apple has been touting is in the SOS. You now have the ability to have crash detection and the fall detection that's already been there. So you can turn that on or off and read some of the fine print there, just like that. So, good to have, especially if you have the cellular turned on with the Apple Watch. So that's about it for this video. This is the Apple Watch Ultra, and I hope these tips and tricks were useful for getting started with this watch. Of course, I will be making plenty more content on my other channels, so you can check that out if you want to see how it compares with running, how it does with the new AirPods Pro 2, and more. But thank you so much for watching.